What was it that first sparked your interest in alchemy?
It's a good question. I honestly, in a way, I can't say. I don't know. I don't know what sparked it, but I just knew that when it was sparked, it was there. I don't know why that interest is there. I think we've got to almost put that down to a bit of the mysteries of the human soul and where does that come from. But I guess some early formative experiences were like I just had a kind of a compulsion towards learning magic and making potions when I was a kid. I was very much into mixing things and combining things and learning about magic and my father was also a gold prospector. Well, actually, he was a prospector, but he obviously most prospectors like to find gold. That's the best thing to find, and he found a lot of it actually, wow. Amongst other things. So he was always bringing home, minerals and metals and things that he'd found, and that was fascinating to me. I used to go with him, and he'd prospect and I'd dig, and I remember like when he first brought home a hunk of gold, the size of your fist. Which is incredible. Every prospector at some point, if they persist, they'll find something. But that was like a big find, and he actually found 2 hunks of gold like that. Wow. And I think I was just struck. I mean, it's hard not to be struck when you see gold in its natural form. It's incredibly heavy, and but the color is amazing. And I think that has it's a direct link between consciousness and matter. It triggers something inside you to see the gold, and there's a reason why we all want it and lust after it. It's the reason why it's the last rung in the stages of transformation, because it has an instant resonance with us. On some level, it's an external manifestation of something internal. They're just 2 forms of the same thing. So that was very formative to me, and he used to play around with acids, like dissolving. Sometimes the gold would come and it would be intertwined with quartz. Gold and quartz often go together, so that's how you find gold. You look for quartz, and you often can find gold where there's quartz. And yeah, handy tip. There's a lot of that in Australia, though. I'm not sure about in Britain, but he used to break down the quartz with different acids, and that's sort of a part of alchemy as well, as metallurgy, is learning about how to work with the metals and how to break them down into parts that we can actually start to work with them and extract the soul of the metal is another thing. So that was very formative as well, and I guess in a more specific way it was just that I grew up, and like all of us, I think we have our own dark night of the soul at some point in our life. I had mine sort of in my teens and 20s. I was really struggling with my mental health, and that led me to, after I'd gone to university and studied philosophy, I found my way into meditation, and I got pretty serious about that, pretty sort of hardcore practice for a number of years. I became a Buddhist monk for a while. I really got into that. But something was kind of missing from that way of living, I suppose, and I sort of came back into society again, and then I sort of found my way into like a personal development course, which was it was sort of a very deep process where you had to go through a year of basically practicing counselling techniques on your classmates, and they practice them on you, and so you go through all sorts of stuff, and it was a transpersonal counselling course, so it was full of, we studied ritual, we studied dream work, we studied state change and all sorts of stuff, and so it was like a really intense year of personal therapy, group therapy. But at the end of it, you could qualify as a counsellor, and at the end of that, I sort of realised, this is something I could do. So through that, I found Jung, and through Jung, I found my way back into alchemy, because he wrote a lot about spiritual alchemy. And then I found my teacher, Dennis William Hock, in the guild, and I haven't really looked back since then. Yeah.